Today, we're going to talk about faith, what it really means to trust in God when we don't see the full picture. We're also going to look at the power of our words, not only how our words shape our lives, but our words that possibly shape the lives of everyone else around us. And later in our Bible story, we are diving into one of the most surprising and somewhat humorous Bible stories. We're talking about Balaam's donkey from the book of Numbers. So we're going to dive into that later and tie it all together in today's message. One of the most amazing things about following Jesus is that he uses even the smallest things we do and say to leave an eternal impact on others, whether we realize it or not. Most of the time, we don't even realize it. Think about it. A teacher once told you that you were a gifted kid. A football coach or someone in sports encouraged you to stick with it because you had the raw talent to really make something of yourself. Or maybe you just simply told a friend that you were proud of them and they carried that with them for years. All of those words of encouragement could be something that potentially prevents someone from giving up. We never know how powerful our words can be. It's not always about big speeches and planned acts that really stick with someone. Sometimes the Spirit leads us in those small talk moments. That one time you stopped in the grocery store parking lot and you prayed with someone, that testimony is still being told today. That is witness that they are talking about today. These encouragements last with people for their lives. It becomes the gospel that gets spread across generations. That memory sticks with them long after you raised your child. In Proverbs 18:21, it says the tongue has the power of life and death. When you put it like that, maybe we should be careful about what we say. Maybe we should focus on lifting people up and encouraging others and not be so loose with our tongue. So let's not underestimate the little things in life. A small moment of prayer, a little talk, a little bit of encouragement, lifting someone up can last for generations, have a lifelong effect on someone, an eternal effect on someone. God multiplies the smallest seeds of encouragement into harvests you may never see this side of heaven. Faith is enormous in a Christian's life. Faith means saying, you know what, God, I don't understand this turn that you're taking in my life, but I trust you and I have faith that you know where it's going. So real trust isn't about seeing the whole picture. It's about trusting the one who painted it. Trusting God isn't about having all the details. It's about trusting that he's good even when the picture is incomplete. Let's think about one of life's most modern marvels, the GPS system. I can't go anywhere without the GPS anymore. I mean, back in the day, I used MapQuest and I thought it'll never get better than this. Whenever I'm going somewhere I've never been before, I just put the address into my GPS and boom, I take off towards it. I don't necessarily know every single stop along the way. I just take off in faith and I start moving. And then I get directions one step at a time. Turn right here. So I turn right there. I'm not looking 7, 8, 10 moves in advance. I am trusting, I have that faith that when I take those turns and I move, that I'm going to get to where I'm going safely. That's what faith in God is. Trusting him with the directions that he gives you in your daily lives without actually seeing the full picture ahead of it. Maybe you lost your job. It's really tough. I'm sorry to hear that. But perhaps in those moments of pain, God has a better job, a better position, greater promotion in store for you that you never would have attempted had you not lost your job. It's finding the goodness in him in those moments that really make a Christian. That's the difference between a Christian and a non-believer. Believing in him, believing in his goodness, even when it seems like everything's fallen apart. That's what makes the believer the believer. Anybody read the book of Job? Let's dive into today's Bible study. We're going to go to Numbers 22, and we're going to be looking at Balaam's donkey. Now, the story of Balaam's donkey is both humorous and humbling. It's pretty funny. You don't know if you want to laugh or feel bad for the donkey when you read this story. A prophet couldn't see what a donkey could. Balaam was so blinded by pride and greed that he couldn't see the angel in the road, but his donkey could. His donkey, faithful, obedient, enduring, actually saved his life. I'm not saying my dog is a donkey or anything like that, but for some reason when I read this, I thought, you know what? My dog is the best because it'll be 105 degrees during summer and he still wants to climb up on my lap and just sweat it out like he's just dying because he would rather be suffering with me than comfortable without me. The donkey's spirit is one of persistence and obedience even under pressure. Numbers 22:23, when the donkey saw the angel of the Lord. Balaam, a prophet, couldn't even see the angel of the Lord, but his donkey could. God will sometimes open your eyes before he opens others' eyes. What does that look like today? It might look a little something like, maybe you've got an employee who's trying to warn you about a potential business decision. Maybe it's a little too risky. Maybe there's some red flags there that you shouldn't avoid. And maybe they're trying to warn you, but they just come across as real negative, not a team player, but perhaps they're exercising a little bit of caution and they see something that you don't see. Or maybe you're raising your kids and your daughter is dating someone that maybe she shouldn't be dating. You just see something with your wisdom, your life experience that she otherwise just doesn't see. And you're trying to be as gentle as you can to kind of steer her away from that situation. And she just ain't listening because ain't nobody gonna listen to you. Or how about this one? A Christian refusing to bend on their values, even under cultural pressure. People may slander the Christian, throw the Christian under the bus, say that they're too radical, when really they know that they are right in alignment with God's truth. Here's the thing to take away from this. Don't dismiss what God is telling you just because you're the only one that sees it. Just because he spoke to you and others are not seeing what he showed you does not mean you should dismiss it. He's not going to show everybody everything all the time, Sometimes he shows one person and it could be you. So stay faithful in his goodness. Trust in our Lord because it's going to be absolutely beautiful in the end. It's all his plan. It's all his will. Stand firm. Stand firm with the Lord. The story of Balaam's donkey in Numbers 22, that donkey is getting beat. He is enduring that beating. I actually did feel a little bit bad for the donkey because he's saving Balaam from death. And Balaam just can't see it. So what's he do? He starts beating on the donkey and the donkey's just taking it, still saving his life. Sometimes God will show us something and we need to walk out that faith, carry out his will in our life, and we might not be met with grand applause. Other people may throw stones at us. They may slander us. They may hurl insults at us. They may hate us because they can't see what God showed us. But that doesn't mean we're wrong. Obedience is not comfortable all the time. Sometimes obedience is very uncomfortable. We can do the right thing and still get beat on like Balaam's donkey. Doing the right thing is not always met with applause. Sometimes it's met with a lot of opposition. What about a friend who keeps telling you the truth about your destructive habits? You're drinking too much. You are idolizing money. You're putting your kids in sports above your time with God. Instead of saying, we got to go to church on Sunday and then everything else revolves around that afterwards, you're saying, well, I got to take them to volleyball on Sunday. There's softball practice on Sunday. We can't go to church Sunday. We got ball, baby. Sometimes the truth is something that we all need to hear about our own destructive waves, and yet we don't want to hear it. Don't give up when you face resistance. We're all going to face resistance as Christians. Do not give up. Stay faithful. Stay obedient. The donkey stayed faithful and obedient even when he was getting beat on. That's what we need to do too. We need to have that same faith, that same obedience, and that same strength. Please, Lord, bless me with that. Please let me carry that out today. Even when we're misunderstood and mistreated, let's stay firm. Stand firm in our faith. I'm not trying to, dump on a donkey, but if a donkey can do it, come on, praise God, baby, we can do it. Scripture's Numbers 22:33, the donkey saw me and turned away from me. These 3 times, if it had not turned away, I would certainly have killed you by now, but I would have spared it. Balaam thought the donkey was stubborn, rebellious, when really the donkey was saving his life. What looks like delay or difficulty may actually be God's protection. So to conclude our Bible study in today's message, Balaam's donkey was not stubborn. He was faithful. The donkey's spirit is seeing clearly, enduring faithfully, and protecting quietly. People may not understand your obedience now. They may criticize you, beat you, reject you. But when God opens their eyes, they will understand that you were not foolish, you were life-saving. So are you willing to stand firm in the spirit of Balaam's donkey today with the same faithfulness that Christ endured? When people don't see what you see, God puts a calling on your life. He speaks to you, and you're the only one. You're going to be ridiculed, attacked, beaten, misunderstood, slandered, cursed at. Are you going to stand firm today? Will you stay faithful? Because one day God is going to reveal the angel on the road, and your obedience will prove that you were exactly where he said you should be. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Listen, if this video blessed you at all, please consider sharing it with a family member, a friend, or a coworker. That is your way to share the gospel, and I'll see y'all in the next one.